You're listening to Until They Sleep, a podcast where two parents finally get to sit down and discuss all the different things that run through their heads every day because their four kids are finally asleep. Thanks for listening.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Until They Sleep. I am your lovely host, Daniel,
Are you supposed to be lovely?
a.k.a. Get Scar. Or no, am I going to go by Ozzy? I've realized that Daniel is too common now.
Yeah, we already knew that. Oh, by the way, hi, I'm Chantal.
If this is your first time and listen to us, we appreciate you taking the time to lend us your ear. And as always, we want to let you know that we have an Instagram and you can follow us Until They Sleep on Instagram. And there we have a link to our podcast.
Yeah, you're so good about saying this every single time. I don't even think about
I
it.
don't say it every time, but I'm
Because,
just throwing it out there.
like, it's in the details on the podcast. So I just figure if people really care, they'll click on it.
Yeah, but sometimes some people don't read that stuff. They just
It's
see this
true.
and like hit play, see what happens.
I guess it's true.
So if there are people like me that really don't read that much, and they just go through it and say, "Hey, see what happens." Oh man, my people. I'm talking
You're
to you.
talking to your
I'm
people.
talking to you. We alike. we have a lot in common. Please hang around and enjoy our conversation.
Well, yeah, I guess. Maybe it's just interesting to us.
Yeah, just to us. But
And like you said last time, like the two people that faithfully follow.
yeah, and to our faithful followers, we haven't forgotten about you. All two of you. Thank you for the love and support. But you know what? I'm also a follower, and I listen to this podcast every week when it drops. So that makes it 3 faithful followers. I can count myself in
That
that.
doesn't count.
All right, so feel like we've been a little disoriented since we changed our location for our recording. I feel like a couple of times the audio from my part hasn't been that great, so I like to apologize for that part. But let's go back to a little bit how we started this. Crazy week. Been a little disconnected myself, so please fill me in on what's going on with the family.
Well, not too much has happened other than our 10-year-old was very well. Okay, so he gets in the car on Thursday or Friday, and he's like, "Mom, I got in trouble." I'm like, "Oh yeah, you got in trouble? With who?" And he tells me with his teacher. And I said, "Oh yeah, with your teacher? What in the heck did you do?" He's like, "Well, this is what happened." And he tells me that his teacher, like when everybody was leaving for lunch, called out the name of several kids and said, "All of you, please stay behind." And so they were like, "What
the hell did they do?"
Yeah, they were all looking at each other like, "Oh my gosh, what did we do?" And that the teacher waited for all the other kids to leave. And then once all the other kids were out, he kind of like freaked them out because he's like standing in front of them. And then he turned on a video about Dungeons and Dragons.
Like the movie?
No, like how to play Dungeons and Dragons. And he told them that they were being recruited as the nerdiest of the nerds into the new Dungeons and Dragons.
Wait. So he messed with them, making them think that they were in trouble. And at
Yes.
the end of it, it ended up being that he was recruiting them to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. So
Is
they're-
it because, like, yeah, you kids are too nerdy and not cool enough to play sports during lunch?
I don't
so you
know.
need to stay in here.
I don't know, but I guess he does this every year. I didn't know. And our eldest who used to go there didn't know about this either. So I told him, "Well, you must not have been the nerdiest of the nerds to have gotten an invite." He's all offended and he's like, "I would have played." I'm like, "Clearly your teacher did not
He would have
think."
played?
He says
said he
he
would've
told me
played.
he would have played. I'm like, I don't believe it. But
Okay.
our
so,
now 10-year-old is super excited.
all right, I think this is going to be part of our subject for tonight now.
What?
All right, okay, so my son is going to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, our 10-year-old, yes. 2 days a week during lunchtime.
That is awesome.
I think it's awesome too. I never got into Dungeons and
So,
Dragons
me
when I
neither.
was growing up.
Me neither. To me, Dungeons and Dragons was, not to sound racist here, but that was a white boy thing. Right?
Yeah.
Like, where I went to school in South San Diego, there's a little ghetto, and
That didn't happen.
that didn't happen.
I didn't
right?
know anybody who played Dungeons and Dragons either.
I learned about Dungeons and Dragons, I think, in junior high. There was a couple
I learned
of
about
kids,
it in movies.
yeah, that were talking about it, and that was my extent of it.
Mm-hmm.
As life has gone by and I've gotten older, I saw people making fun of it in movies and everything. But now that I'm older and I've learned about it through movies and everything, I mean, we grew up loving fantasy movies, right?
It's true, we did.
And we talk about witchcraft and knights, and I mean, come on, look at the success of Lord of the Rings and stuff, and movies and cartoons and video games and everything. So deep down inside, we all have a nerd.
Yeah, for sure.
We all like that stuff, right?
Yes. Or the majority of the population does.
I've always had a thing about orcs.
Orcs?
I just think they're cool.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
with the big old teeth and the mohawks and the axes. To me, they were like green Hulk Vikings.
Okay, but I think that's just a portrayal of them in the movie.
Yeah. Well, that's, and even in the posters I used to see, right? I mean, I I would see unicorns and Pegasus, and I mean, I grew up around that stuff ever since I was a kid. I love Greek mythology, so some of that stuff was kind of like fantasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Viking lore and stories. Like I
Yeah.
love that stuff too. So it all went hand in hand. I wish that the nerdy kids in school would have like tried to sit down and invite me, or
But you didn't come off as that type.
but I was approachable.
Well, yeah, you
I
were.
was a fun guy. I was a friend to
Were
everybody.
you a friend of them?
Everyone. I mean, there were times when they were getting bullied and I defended them, and we always said we were always cordial after that. Like I can never stand bullies. I always stood up for people.
Yeah.
Like, that's not cool. Like,
Well, but maybe they just
'cause I
didn't
always
think
felt
you would
like
appreciate it.
the weird awkward kid, so I kind of identified with them.
Mm-hmm.
I may have never come across like that, but in deep down inside, I was also kind of like a little awkward kid. We all go through it. It's teenage years.
Yeah, see, I guess same with me. I was surrounded by kids who didn't do any of that
But
stuff.
hold on, I'm going to stop you right here.
Okay.
About a year and a half ago,
Yes.
a friend of mine
Oh, yes. I know where
went
this is
looking for
going.
me and said, "Dude, Warhammer 40K," and I was like, "What the hell is that?" Kind of gave me a quick explanation about it's kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons, but it's Space Marines, and it's in the future, and it's all fantasy, and it's a game board, and it's a hobby where you get to paint, and every same thing as Dungeons and Dragons, but blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, cool. I'm doing this, and I read this faction, and to me it said, you 100%. I had to tell you about it. He tells me about it. I Google it. I YouTube it. I start watching it. I start listening to it. I get home, and I'm like, babe,
Yes, I remember.
I want to do this.
Yes.
And you clowned on me.
I did. I said, when did you turn into a huge old nerd?
You told your brother, who him and me talk crap to each other all the time. He's like my best friend. And this person decides to send me texts making fun of me. He's like, oh, bro, I thought you were always the cool guy. Now you turned into a nerd at your old age.
I just can't fathom the conversation that this friend of yours had with you that would have made him think that you would have been totally into this.
Well, he said it was space, it was war, and it was Viking.
But what made him think that you were going to be into painting figurines to play a game? How did that ever come up?
Yeah, well, I have to confess one thing. I have not played a game yet.
No, you haven't played any games.
I've painted.
You've painted.
And I have to say that it was frustrating, but at the same time, I freaking enjoyed it. Because maybe at that time I was going through some stress or, things weren't going well. So to me, that was an escape. There were days that I didn't go to the gym, just come home and maybe paint for a little while and watch a video, take some tutorials. It's frustrating because those things are tiny, and to get those perfect,
I know you need that special magnifying light glass.
I have.
You have a list of things you need to buy so you can paint.
Yeah, so it's a baby stuff for me.
Yeah.
But, I try to introduce it to the kids, and they blew me off.
Well, yeah, 'cause they had to
like,
paint.
like, you are not my father anymore. You are a nerd.
Well, speaking of going down rabbit holes, Our 14-year-old has gone down the whole Star Wars rabbit hole. Oh my
Which is,
gosh.
I try to get him to join me on that journey too.
And
Yes,
that's
I admit it.
another rabbit hole you
I
went
am
down
at
a
my
couple
old
years
age.
ago.
Yes, yeah, I'm becoming a little nerdy. I'm sorry.
But is it, I mean, yeah, I guess it's thought of as nerdy, but I did make fun of you guys. And I make fun of you guys now because our 14-year-old is now, I guess, appreciating the lore. And it's just funny to me to see you, big tough guy, Mr. Rockabilly Rebel, whatever you were when we were kids, and now you're now you're collecting superheroes and Warhammer characters and Star Wars everything. It's cute. I mean, I make fun of you
Like
guys.
when I was a little boy, I know everybody wanted to be Luke Skywalker, right?
Uh-huh.
I wanted to be Han Solo.
Yeah, you told me
That was
before.
my guy,
Yeah.
right? As I grew up a little bit more, I think by the time that I watched, episode was it 6, I was already, Darth Vader 100%. I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Vader. Rah. So that's
It was
one
already in
thing.
you
But the Mandalorian ruined it for everybody.
because you love the Mandalorian. Like, he beats everything.
Everything,
He trumps everything.
the stuff that the code and everything, it's Viking-ish.
Yeah.
And then so there's so much backstory that I didn't know, so that led me to start watching the cartoons, so that I can understand what's going on because
The
there's
Clone
gaps.
Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's gaps and then Rebels, and so I went down to, like you said,
Huge
big-
rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was trying to explain that to my son because so
He wasn't into it though at that time. And now he's found interest in it.
yeah,
And
he doesn't want to watch Mandalorian with me right now that the
Yes.
new season started because he's like, no, I need to get caught up. I need to understand all this other stuff that
yes.
happened.
And he's literally memorized everything. He knows everybody's name.
Oh, he upped
all
it.
the scenarios.
He upped it. Really, I'm like, bro, I enjoy the lore. I enjoy the story. I can't name you blasters or fighters, and this punk starts naming them,
Yes.
and I'm like, and now he's correcting me, and I'm like, whoa, all right, sorry, dude.
But you know what? I know I'm calling you guys nerds, but it's finally good for me because how long have you been calling me a nerd with all my Legend and Princess Bride and my monsters and
And your Star
you've-
Trek.
Oh, and my Star Trek. You've always called me a nerd for those things. You're like nerd, nerd, nerd all the time.
Well,
And I can do it back now.
You
I
need to
can do it
realize
back now.
You need to realize something. There's always going to be Star Trek versus Star Wars. There's always going to be Marvel.
You mean like
versus
that?
DC.
Like
There's always
that?
Gonna, there's going to be Dungeons and Dragons versus Warhammer.
That
I mean,
post you sent me about the husband and the kids are all dressed in Star Trek and the wife comes, oh no, Star Wars, and the wife
also
comes
just
down in Star
throw this
Trek.
coffee at you.
The wife comes down in Star Trek.
Yeah, as a was it Ahura?
No,
Was
yeah,
she wearing like a red dress, right?
Red. She's wearing red.
Isn't that what
Ahura wears.
Ahura? Yeah. And the dad's all Mando, and he got like a Boba Fett. And
Yeah,
like
the
a
kids.
Leia.
Yeah. He's like, why do you always have to ruin everything?
Yeah, that's you.
Oh well. Anyways, so that's what's going on with the kids as far as that stuff. But
That's awesome because he has a great imagination too.
both kids do.
Yeah,
but for
the
the 10-year-old,
I mean, he's out there. Like,
Yeah.
he's always shown it. He loves drawing. He loves making up stories. So that's gonna be right up his alley. He's gonna be good at it. I really
Yeah.
think so. And if they ever allow him to be a dungeon master, I'm pretty sure he'll be able to handle.
well, and we went to the bookstore today, right? We were trying to see if maybe he wanted to get something, but
I think it's better if he has somebody like that teacher. It sounds like he's done it before.
oh yeah,
He knows.
he's
So he'll be like the perfect person to teach him.
I love this teacher for him, and I wish that our eldest had him as his homeroom teacher back when he was at that school, because I mean he's a really good teacher in general, like for every subject, but he's got that quirky, fun side of him where he's into the super. Like his whole room is decorated in superheroes.
Oh, that's the one teacher that had like the Batman stuff.
Yes.
And yeah, so
Yes.
he was smart. He was kind of like me. He had like one section Marvel and one section DC,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
they were like across from each other.
Yeah, but he has his whole room decorated in superheroes and
That's
all
another
that
big
stuff.
guy right there too, with a big old beard too.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
a brother right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's been at that school for years. and his kids went
So that's
there and
cool.
everything. So, I mean, I'm happy that our 10-year-old got him because he's also one of the teachers that evaluated him when he was in first grade.
Oh, the one that liked how he
The
thinks.
one that liked how he thought, yeah, because our 10-year-old now, when he was in first grade at that school, his teachers thought that he wasn't learning correctly, and so they called me into a meeting. And so these are the lower grade teachers, and I guess their protocol is to have a upper grade teacher there to observe and give their input. So this teacher, this fifth grade teacher, he was there to give his input on what they were saying and see what he sees. And when he saw what our kids teachers were concerned about, this teacher was like, no, he's getting it, he's just doing it backwards. He's just, his mind is thinking
I remember. I
backwards.
remember you told me about
He did it
this
in a
scenario,
pattern.
and I remember what you told me he did, and I also thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome
Um,
what he did too. He was supposed to do something with the alphabet, and he didn't follow it exactly the way they expected him to follow it, but he still completed the task,
yeah.
and they were concerned about that. But this upper grade teacher, who he has now, saw that and was like, he completed the assignment. He just did it in a different way, and he thought it was awesome. He's like, I see it. He's like, I think that's awesome. He was laughing about it and everything.
Yeah, I think what it was. I think they were supposed to write like the alphabet in lowercase and then capitals and then like lowercase. Lo and behold, our boy did it like A in capital, B lower, and then C. Like it was something.
I don't
Yeah, it was.
remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was such a long time ago. But
Yeah, I know. Point being that this one teacher got him back then. And so I'm happy that he gets him now because he appreciates his differences, his quirkinesses. He can teach to that, which is awesome. So, anyways, okay. So that's what's going on with the 10-year-old. And I touched on the 14-year-old, going down his rabbit hole and your whole collection thing. But didn't I call you about our 14-year-old requesting something?
I would have said you called me. You texted me.
I texted you and you called me back. So I'm sitting at my desk working. It's around lunchtime at school, and I get a notification on my phone that our 14-year-old has downloaded Instagram to his phone. I'm thinking, okay, he didn't ask me for permission. Maybe he asked dad for permission. So I texted you to ask you if you gave him permission to do that. And in the meantime, I blocked it because I can do that. So I went on and I blocked the Instagram from his phone so he couldn't do anything else with it. And then you called me back.
Yeah, and I never got an alert. So our kids they have phones. Both our oldest boys, and well, mom pretty much monitors a lot of the things, and there's restrictions, and they have their ages, and so yeah, we usually get any alerts for any permissions to download any apps. I didn't get one. You didn't get one, but it raised that question of when is the right time to allow them to have Instagram
Yeah.
or any type of social media. I know they had Snapchat, and that's kind of like you let them have that because you like to play with them since they were kids with the filters.
Yeah.
So to them, that's their fun, you know.
But now that they're older, they do go through stories. And I mean, I can't monitor that part of what they're seeing on the stories, but they do come to me often and they're like, oh, mom, look, 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 look. So our 10-year-old, he's always bringing me ghost stories, like haunted people or haunted situations or something with animals, cute animals or amazing animals. And those are the things that he is always showing me. And then the eldest, he's always coming to me with, Mom, look at this gaming something about gaming. He'll be also ghost stories. He's like, Mom, look at this ghost story. And and then our 14-year-old also shows me medical things like medical oddities or if reasons that people have been going to the emergency room. So those are the things that I'm aware of that they're seeing on Snapchat. And, that's it. I don't know if they're seeing anything else because there's really no way, I don't think, to monitor that.
I don't think so. Not on Snapchat.
So
But
now
go ahead.
now he's asking for well, now he downloaded Instagram, and then we decided that he could have it.
Yeah, I mean, he's old enough. He's a teenager. I know. We went on a family trip and he met some people, and the first thing they asked was like, "Hey,
What's your
what's your
Instagram?
Instagram?" And he's like, I don't know what that is. I don't have one." So he's like, "All right." So that's the first time I came up, and I imagine he was at school, and he's a high schooler now, and all his other friends or something were probably talking about it, and that's how it came up. He realized that he went to install it, and he didn't probably get a parental permission thing anymore. So that led to me to looking it up, and Instagram actually says that once you're 13, you can pretty much have Instagram. He's 14, so by their rules, he's allowed to have it. The rule that you and me were talking about, it was like, well, he's old enough, let's give him that trust. It is scary, some of the stuff that's out there. I mean, and some of the stories, and like I said, our kids are pretty sheltered in certain ways. So I know that social media is probably going to corrupt them.
If it hasn't already.
And you're going to start, he's going to be exposed to a lot of stuff, jokes, politics, women.
Well, I know even you tell me like random women who message you and our kids. I don't know that our kids are the safest, right? That's part of the concern, right? Is like teaching them to not open emails, teaching them to not open text messages or answer phone calls from people that they don't know, phone numbers that they don't recognize. And now with social media, don't go opening, a PM from someone that you don't know who's like, "Hey, cutie," it's like.
Well, yeah, I mean, even I got.
I know that's what I'm
hacked,
saying. You
so.
get stuff. Yeah, and you've been hacked.
Yeah, I got hacked the last time through a friend.
Yeah.
A friend sent me a message, and we were talking, and then I woke up one day, and it's like we were talking again. I started fighting with him. You were laughing, and then that was it. It was I couldn't log into my Instagram anymore.
Yeah, and I was Googling like social media ages requirements or minimums and stuff, and I found like this little study that said that kids who use YouTube are more likely to get hacked than those who use the other platforms.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it said. But TikTok and Snapchat were on there as well, with Instagram actually being the least hackable, which I think is crazy because, like I said, I know lots of people who've been hacked on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't know. Instagram, I mean, to me, automatically, there was a time when Instagram was kind of cool. And then Instagram, once it got bought up by Facebook, I think it all changed.
Well, yeah.
But
they're saying Facebook.
I mean, I still enjoy it. I mean, I like the original idea of what it was.
Which is just pictures.
Yeah, share your pictures, what you're doing, whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's true. I get Instagram messages from my friends, coworkers all the time, just random jokes and stuff.
And you also get messages from people you don't know.
Yeah, but I don't open those anymore. I mean, or at all. I delete them, I report them, whatever. But for my son, I like to trust him, and I like to think that we raised him good enough. He should know better. And, I can't keep a blindfold on his eyes for the rest of his life. I know we're supposed to protect him. But I guess that brings up the question, like, when is the right age? I know there's a lot of parents that are like, oh, no biggie, it's just, I'll monitor it or...
Yeah, well, just even going through a Google search, like there's all these questions, like can a 12-year-old have a social media? Why kids under 13 should not be on social media? What is the minimum, so we're definitely not the only ones asking this question. And I guess according to law, right, they're allowed to, at the age of 13... to be able to be on social media.
But what law? Like, is it a state law?
It says Congress. Congress passed this law, which is probably the same law that keeps us from monitoring their medical, right? So at the age of 13, I lost control of his medical online.
So does that mean he can drink at 13? I mean, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, I know it's stupid, and I know lots of parents who are mad about this. Even nurses that I've talked to, they're like, it's just the law. And it's just Congress passed a law saying basically that at the age of 13, they now have privacy laws for kids.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they're still too
That's so
young.
weird. Yeah, 13. I mean, think about when we were 13.
Like,
Like,
you're still learning who you are. You're still trying to find yourself. How, and you are not making good decisions at 13 years old. You're not making good decisions at 14. You know, you're still a kid.
oh, yeah.
Your body's still changing. Your hormones are still changing. You know, I think it's ridiculous that I can't see his medical record without his consent. He has to list me on his release notification for me to be able to see his medical record. Like, I can no longer pull up his information on my phone. And I'm allowed to make appointments for him. That's about it.
Hey, you're a secretary now.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous. And it's the same thing with social media, right? It's because even on his phone, right, the monitoring app we have on his phone gives him the option at 13 to close us out.
Yeah, so our rule was simple, right? I was like, okay, you can have it. Mm-hmm. Well, I told you what
Yeah,
I
you
thought.
told me, yeah.
I was like, he can have it, but he has to add us immediately,
Yeah.
and he's subject to inspections of that phone every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I guess you guys sat down and had the conversation.
I let him know what the stipulations were, and he decided he didn't want it.
Okay, so there it is.
And that just kind of made me a little sad because here we are trying to extend an option of trust. Like, okay, we're going to let you have this. And we just want you to connect to us the same way you connect to us on Snapchat. Is it? And the only difference is every now and
So
then.
that was my other thing. It was like, he already has a Snapchat, so why does he need Instagram, right? But I get it. Snapchat is annoying because I have it too, and now there's all these commercials and stuff like that. But you can still see stories. You can still see stuff. I'm kind of proud of him for saying no,
Okay.
because you're like this is not like I feel like I'm dictatorship. Like, and I know we're parents, we're
Yeah.
supposed to, but at the same time, I'm kind of proud that he's like, no, I'm not gonna abide to your rules. Like,
I am not okay with that.
no, that's fine. It's like, because that's his privacy.
But see, that's the problem. Like,
Yeah.
that's the problem with the world right now. It's like, oh, their privacy. They're still kids.
Okay, but
Right? What do we say at home? As long as you live under my roof, you live under my rules.
yeah,
So it applies to the social media.
okay.
The same way we've said at any point we can take away
Exactly.
that phone.
So he should know better that we're not. Well, at least I'm not going to be going through his stuff all the
I
time.
don't go through his phone.
So, right. So, but it was just like a rule, and
Yeah.
so he was like, "Nah, I don't want to play by the rule." Because I was like, "All right, cool." He's probably afraid. Maybe he's gonna search for things,
Well, and that's what made
blondes
me.
or big butts or something.
Well,
like
that's
that.
what made me sad is that tells me then that his intention with Instagram was not just for whatever. He probably had like a specific idea of something he wanted to see on Instagram, and he knows we wouldn't approve of it.
Maybe.
That's what it made me think. It's like, because he has Snapchat and there's no issues there. Like we've got, you've looked at his
Snapchat
Snapchat.
is worse than Instagram,
And you've looked at his Snapchat before, like you've gone, you've seen his conversations before.
No, those is text messages.
Oh, his text messages. Well, either way, is that an invasion of privacy
yeah,
to read their text messages?
yeah, it is.
So, but I mean, they're kids. There is no privacy until they're 18 years old.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what all parents go through, though. It's one of those. Yeah, of course, I want to know what he's up to. I want to know what's going on. I mean, he doesn't talk to me like he talks to you. I mean, I want to keep him protected. I don't want. I mean, children go missing all the time, and
Yeah.
they get catfish.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of sickles out there. So yeah, definitely,
We're constantly talking to them
we're
about
worried
these
about
things,
it,
right? We tell them,
But at the same time, I want to let them know that you're becoming an adult, and I'm giving you some trust, but I mean, it was kind of like the same thing. The conversations when we were younger, it was different. How old can a girl be before she can start wearing makeup? How old do kids have to be before they get a
Well-
pager? Like I remember when I was a kid, everybody's like 6th grade, 7th grade, whatever. They're all talking about their pagers. I was like, I don't want a pager. People keeping track of me. I was like, what, having to run to a payphone?
well, it's like,
Payphones, children, were these phones on a pole or usually at a
In a
corner
box.
and everything in a box. By my time, they weren't like a booth, but they were just like a little, and it said telephone, and then you go in there and you put like a quarter or coins. 4 of them make $1. You used to use 1 quarter to put it in there, and you dial the phone number. There were buttons. They're not the little spinny thing. They were just like the little buttons, and you hit that thing, and you will call people.
Yes.
People carry these little squares on their pockets. They clip them on, and you had like a number to it, and your parents will like call enter on their phone that number, and it will beep, and parents will put like their home phone number, and it'll be like, oh, I gotta call home. Or some people had codes. I don't know, like to say hello or miss you or whatever with numbers, whatever. And people will go Google Gaga over it. But most of the time, my friends had pagers, and their parents would send that, and that meant call me ASAP. I want to know where you're at, what's going on, who you're with. So yeah, they did that.
I had a pager. I lost it at Disneyland.
How old were you when you got the pager?
I was 18.
They still have pagers back then. You were 18.
I'm in my 40s now. Yeah, they had pagers back then.
At 18, they already had cell phones.
I know, but I didn't have a cell phone.
They look
I
like
got
bricks.
A pager.
They look like those gray bricks, like
I got a pager.
cinder block. Sorry, like a cinder block, and you like put them on.
I got a pager in the late 90s. I got a pager. I did not get a cell phone, and I was very proud of my pager, but I lost it on dang Space Mountain.
Well, pagers became very popular with drug dealers.
Well,
so that was always.
I have a horror story with my pager.
Oh, see, there you go.
I have a horror story with my pager. I remember I was driving. I don't know where I was driving to. I think it was driving down to TJ, and I got a phone call. I got a page, and I was like, I pulled over. Actually, in Lake Elsinore, I pulled over in Lake Elsinore to make a phone call to call back this number, and it was nighttime. I was 18, 19 years old, and I call this number. I'm like, hi, somebody paged me, and it's a guy. And he starts being really nice. He's like, hey, yeah, all sweet and everything. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know you. He's like, oh, yeah, no, this used to be my number. I was just checking. Oh, okay, well, all right, well, I'm glad it's you, blah, 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 blah. Like flirting. I hang up. I'm like, okay, that's weird. This guy keeps calling and calling and calling, but now he starts sending like codes on the phone. Like, I guess you could use the numbers to make words. And he starts leaving voicemails because I had one where you could leave voicemails.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I had voicemails. So he started threatening me. He wanted his pager number back. He would leave me threat messages like he was going to kill me for my pager. And I was so mad. I was like, a part of me was like, I'm not going to give up my pager number. I worked hard for my pager, and this is my number, and screw that guy. And then that other side of me was like, Chantel, you're stupid. Just get another number. Anyways, eventually I did get another number. But yeah, this guy stalked me on my pager and voicemail for like 3 weeks.
Now, how was he going to find you?
I know, I thought about that back then too. I was like, this guy's never going to find me. But
kids.
I was a kid. Yeah. And look, I was 18 or 19 years old. I was still a kid. I was new to the world of being on my own. So, but yes, that was my horror story with my pager. And it happens now on social media.
Yeah, no, that happens. I mean, it happens all the time. There's channels on YouTube about kids getting bullied on Xbox or Nintendo.
Oh, yeah. I read that in the statistics about the whole, like, what's a safe age. That's what one of the articles I was reading was talking about the cyberbullying. So,
but that's the thing, though. Cyberbullying is a common thing now because that's where nobody goes out anymore. Nobody socializes anymore. How they socialize is through video games or social media, and there's all these people that are getting catfish, and they put, whatever 6 videos of some random girl, and then, they wait for kids to be like, oh, you look so pretty, and next thing you know, they're sending them messages back, and, IMs and everything, and that's meet me at the mall, maybe be here, or whatever, and then that's it. That's the last time you see them, right? Or, you're going through this awkward phase, and I know what it's like, and, oh, yeah, they don't understand you. You're a queen bee, like whatever.
Yeah.
It's easy prey.
Yeah, well, but that's what I worry about with our kids,
social media is the same thing, Everybody's a tough guy behind the microphone, and they start talking crap and putting people down, and, your mama's jokes or whatever not. And, I've heard some of the stuff. I've played online. I hear some of that trash talking and the stuff that happens.
You tell me it's like little kids, too.
Yeah, the little kids are some of the worst, yeah. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. But it's crazy. And so, yeah, I mean, and people are so fragile now, like the stuff that's being said in there. I can see why they get bullied. But then you got those hackers that are like, oh, after your IP, they get your address and your name and everything, because everything gets registered, right?
Yeah.
Like, so the moment you create a Instagram account, you're already registered. You just register yourself.
I see, and that's what I thought about my dang pager. Was like, my number is registered somewhere. How do I know that this guy doesn't know
Oh no,
someone
most
that he
definitely,
can
because you
get
got
the
a bill,
number?
right? You got a
Yeah,
bill for that, so
exactly.
then your name's on it and your address is on it, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
that was like a old
I did think
phone
about
bill.
that. Yeah. I did think about that. Like, this guy could totally find me if he really wanted to. That was my conspiracy mind, though. Anyways,
Yeah, I never had a pager. I didn't need one. I was in the whole like, nobody's ever gonna keep track of me.
and look at that now.
Yeah,
I have you on Google Maps.
yeah.
I know where you
and
are.
I block you, and I love to see how you freak out every time. I can't see where you're at.
I only do that.
I can't see where you're at. You
I-
better turn that on.
I don't sound like that.
You're
And-
gonna sleep in the couch.
And I only
No, that doesn't happen. I'm
I only
exaggerating.
do that at night, because you drive home so late at night.
That's why I turned it on. I mean, you guys didn't know about it. I'm the one that told you. I was like,
Yeah,
hey,
you
I'm
told
sharing my
me.
location with you guys.
Yeah.
So in case anything ever happens to me on my way home, I fall asleep or whatever, you know what's going on.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
only reason.
There's nothing to hide.
Yeah, you say that.
Yeah.
You're gonna go see Sancha.
Got plenty of them, baby. Plenty of horses in the stable. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
Yeah.
Well aware. You remind me often.
I do?
You do.
That's a lie, people. Okay? Let me clarify this. That's a joke.
It's an ongoing joke for over 17 years.
Yeah.
Oh, it gets old. But not for him, just for me. Well, anyway, so, I mean, Instagram, though, for our 14-year-old, I'm okay with him having it. It just, like I said, it just made me sad that he chose to not do it, because I told him he had to connect to us.
You just sit down with the man. Can't track me. Can't.
I mean, I
put
have
your
him on
keys me,
Snapchat. I can still track him.
He has 2 accounts on Snapchat. You know that, right?
No, I don't know that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Don't most kids have 2 accounts on Snapchat? That's what I've heard.
You should be cheaters, though.
I mean, the oldest girls, that's what they had. They had their one account for their friends and one account for their family. Even on Facebook.
I think so.
I'd like to think that he could trust us and we could trust him. And the way we show that trust is by not hiding things.
Yeah, but like we say, he's a good kid. He's been sheltered. He's still innocent in a lot of ways. So we said it in another episode.
I know, but
I made my jokes. He's like lost and whatever. So, allowing your kids to go into social media, it is a big eye opener. They start seeing stuff. They start hearing languages. I'm sure they hear some of this stuff at home already from their dads, obviously, or their uncles or grandpa or whatever.
even their moms.
But yeah, it's different when you hear from other people, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't have that issue when we were kids.
No.
Like I said, the common thing was getting a pager, maybe hanging out. But now you got social media, you got cell phones, you got all that stuff.
And that's the thing,
You have
even
your
cell
Walkman.
phones.
Yeah, it's on your hand. So
How young we got our 6-year-old who wants a phone, and I'm like, no.
no, she doesn't need one.
She doesn't need a phone. Not even close. And our 10-year-old getting a phone, I was on the fence about him getting a phone, because the only reason our 14-year-old got a phone was because he was doing sports after school.
Yeah.
But our 10-year-old wasn't.
No, but his brother went to high school, so they weren't in school together no more.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
we needed to keep the communication between him and his sister started school.
Yeah, his started
So
school,
then
yeah.
we needed.
But that's the only reason.
That's the only reason why he got it.
Yeah.
And I mean, even though he has a Snapchat, I mean, at least with him, it's cute to hear that I hear from our eldest that the one that's on the Navy is like, oh yeah, I talk to my little brother all the time. He's always sending me messages and pictures and of everybody, or things. And then we hear that your cousin in Texas is he talks to his cousin over there. It's
Yeah.
like, so at least he talks to family. He checks in on them. He's a good firm person. And most of the time, he's not talking to people. He's actually, if anything in there, he's watching either Netflix or playing a game.
Yeah, when he's on his phone in general. Yeah.
So, or trying to make music.
Yes, with his little monster music app thing that he downloaded. Yeah. So both our boys are wannabe musicians, right? Like they have downloaded mixers of some sort onto their phones, and they both play with music. So I mean that's awesome, because we love music. We're not musicians ourselves per se, but we love music. So
Yeah.
it's awesome that they love that.
We're pretend musicians.
We're pretend musicians, yeah. In
Is
our
that-
heads,
You
we're
go to play the
great.
piano, everybody runs over there and they want to play the piano.
I
with
know.
you.
I tried to play
I
a
grab a
song.
guitar, I try to play, and everybody comes and they want to strum. you know?
Yeah, I know. But I tried to play yesterday I tried to play. I could not remember my favorite song.
Just happened to me like a few minutes ago.
Yeah, when you're on the guitar. I know. I guess anybody else out there, I think, I don't know if we really...
Yeah, I want to know, like, if you're listening to this and you have kids and, you know, they already have their phones and they are already in social media, let us know when was the age that they started.
Yeah.
You know.
And do you have any protective parameters on them, or do you just kind of let them do whatever they want? Because that's another a scary thing that I've heard is there's like groups of like those antisocial kids or suicidal kids and stuff like that, and they're all depressed and all they talk about is my life sucks and blah blah blah. And then, like, isn't there something about videos of kids who actually killed themselves, like allegedly killed themselves on, like, I don't want our kids looking at that. And then what if your kids are that type of depressed kid? You know, they've got social issues of their self or family issues, and their life is, you know, and then they see that stuff and it's okay. Like, and you as a parent,
it's
don't
not
know.
that it's okay, but it brings an awareness. It's showing you stuff that's going on. So,
but you as a parent can't monitor that.
Yeah, but see, okay, so in that aspect, you know, there's also videos of like robberies or shootings or stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it sucks to see them, and because it's actual human lives, you know, it's not a movie, it's not a video game, right?
Yeah.
So it does, I believe, desensitize you to a certain point, but at the same time, it's making you mentally aware of what's out there in the world. When I was growing up, like I said, I didn't have a social media. We didn't have social media. We didn't have that stuff, but I lived it.
Yeah.
You know,
because of where you grew up.
Yeah, I knew when somebody was going to get jumped. You know, you can feel it, you can sense it. You know, you knew when there was a drive-by about to happen. You knew when somebody was gonna hit up a 7-Eleven. You know, just by the way that they pulled up, or, you know, just what they were wearing. Like, you just became aware of certain things. Like, it's
You're
called
street smart.
Yeah, street smarts, right? You started learning it. You know,
I have none.
so now they see it in the videos and stuff. It's like, all right, mental note. Like, you know, if I see two guys on a little freaking moped like this, what does it mean? Are they gonna shoot? Are they gonna rob? Like, oh, look how quick they grabbed that little girl that was getting ice cream at the corner, and this other lady just lowered her, and all of a sudden the car pulled in and they took her, you know. Like, so those are things that make you realize, like, oh man, my parents are not making this up. Like, this actually happens.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing it.
Well, and the other side of it, like, lately there's a lot of videos where people are bringing social awareness to certain things, like the certain dancing around children that's inappropriate, or making children do things that are inappropriate on videos. I don't look at those videos, even if I agree with what the post is saying as far as, like, this is awful. I won't like it because I don't want to add it to the algorithm. Like, I feel like the more that we give certain of those things attention by liking, like, even if it's someone advocating against it, the fact that it's being shown and thrown in people's faces gives it power. Mm-hmm. And I would rather not give it power by not liking it and just scrolling past it. Do you know what I mean? But this is something that our kids are now going to be able to see.
Well, yeah, and you got to think about it too. Like, they want those kids, right? Because they want to start programming. But then that's the same thing with schools. You have teachers that are posting on social media that I'm going to grow up your kids, or I'm going to teach them about this and that you might not agree with, right?
Yeah.
That are against your values and the way you were raised, right? So there's now those younger teachers that are like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to teach your kids everything that you don't
want them to learn. Which is why our kids don't go to public school.
Or that you're afraid of. Like, but that's the same thing. It's like, to what limit are we going to go to? Like, what?
That's why so many parents are homeschooling their kids.
Yeah, but
now.
how much can you shelter children? But that's the thing. Like, there gets to a point where you can just be too overprotecting, and we're complaining about how the younger generation is, you know, so much sensitive and fragile, and it's because they're being overprotective.
Well,
you gotta let them. You know, just like when they're babies, they're gonna fall when they're learning how to walk. I know that we want to protect them. I know we want to keep them sheltered. I know as a parent, when our kids are sick, it's the worst feeling for me in the world to hear them cough and cry because they're frustrated. They don't know how to handle this cold that's tearing them down. And I wish that I can take when they fall down and scrape their knees or, they break a bone and you're like,
or
I wish,
broken hearts.
I wish I can take that pain. But I mean, those were the life lessons, right?
Yeah.
We learn. Shit, I shouldn't touch that. It was hot. I burned my finger. Yeah. Oh, my dad is grilling. I shouldn't get that close to the fire or, or
mom's cooking. Or
if I don't duck.
When my brother's swinging a bat.
Yeah. I'm going to get hit. Like, it's part of life.
I know.
Sucks.
It just feels so bad right now. Like there's so many things out on social media.
Oh, no, for sure.
That I don't want the kids to see, right? Yeah, you say I grew up extremely sheltered. I agree. I was extremely sheltered and I didn't understand the world until
the crazy part about that
slapped
is
me in the face.
We don't want it to see it, right? But sometimes we're adults and we're trying to have conversations and they're around and they can hear us because even if it's not social media related, it's what's going on around us at the time, right?
And we're conversations we're having
maybe
that bring attention to it.
Yeah, exactly. So they are hearing it from us, right? They're also hearing it.
But I'd rather they hear it from us than see certain things with their friends to where we can explain it to them as, yeah, that's not morally correct or that's inappropriate for your age. And this is why.
No, yeah.
Versus with their friends who make light of it and make fun of it or are demeaning about it. You know what I mean? And it's not a matter of being weak. It's a matter of being respectful.
And especially at that age right now, right? Our oldest, at this age right now, it's an awkward age.
Yes.
Where they're sensitive. They're going through, like you said, a lot of hormonal imbalances.
Yeah.
They're growing. They're changing. They're not understanding things. They're, how they feel. It's a roller coaster
the whole gamut,
of feelings, right? So, and then you're gonna add social media and people probably insulting them, putting them down, or so it makes it different, right? But here's the one thing about me with social media, like it's enjoyable and it's fun, but I've been getting a lot of messages, and I think people are starting to think that I'm ignoring them, but it's just like that thing's a drug. It's addictive.
I try not to be on it every day.
I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking in general. Like, so when you start doing that to your kids, it becomes their addiction. They just want to be in there, like they even make fun of it in movies and we laugh about it, right? When they're like, how many likes did I get? Oh, how many followers do you have? Like there's more to life than that. So I think in a way, I'm glad that the kids don't have that because that, it makes them go outside and play. It makes them go do things and not be afraid and try things.
And that's
not have to worry about how many times do we go out to eat and everybody's taking a freaking picture of their food.
Yeah.
Or, oh, look at my selfie. Like, dude, enjoy the moment. Or when we go to school things and everybody's watching it through their freaking phones recording. I get it. It's a memory. You want to record it, right? Yeah. But, like, look away from the phone. Just hold the phone right there where you're at and move your head above
and look at it with your eyes.
And look at it with your eyes and remember that. And you're recording this. It might not be perfect because that's what I do. I go back later on to see it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I wasn't putting attention because I was looking at that moment, and I remember it in my memory.
Yeah.
I'm doing those recordings, so when I start getting old and I start forgetting stuff, that I can go back and like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, how beautiful was my baby, But everybody's addicted to their phones, and as soon as they get it, like every grandma, I'm going to send to your aunt and to your cousins and to this and to that.
I know.
It was like,
I know who that is.
No. I hear it. I've heard it on the audience. It's like, it's not just your mom. It's every other grandma that every time we've gone to anything, they're doing and saying the same thing. And to me, that's crazy that we've all become self-reliant on this technology that we just can't enjoy the beauty around us.
Yeah.
There's people that wake up and the first thing they do is they grab their phone and they look at it to see
how many messages.
How many messages do I have? How many likes did I get on my last post? It's perfect for advertising, right? So I like to post about the podcast.
Yeah.
Obviously. Because
that's the only time I go in there.
We have people that follow us. We have friends that follow us. And they don't listen to it, but they're supportive.
Yeah.
Right? They want to know what we're going on. Either be support or be a nosy, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
But, I like to keep people a little bit on the loop. But I'm not posting every meal, every event, every trip.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I went. Oh, I didn't see you post anything about it. I was like, yeah, because
There's nothing to
I was
post.
enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I'll post pictures about it once I'm back and I
Yeah.
have some free time. So that's all I was saying. I'm getting so many pictures from people, and they're like, oh, Ozzy's probably ignoring me. He hasn't looked at it. He hasn't liked it. He hasn't. But I'm busy with life. I'm busy with work. I'm busy with my
Yeah.
wife. I'm busy with my kids.
There's lots of times I put my phone aside. I forget where I put it.
Yeah.
Because I get busy doing other things, attending to the kids, doing my regular work. I even leave it by the side of the bed most mornings, and I have to send the kids, oh, can somebody please go get my phone?
I mean, the only time when I think I'm like hooked on my phone
when you're
is
playing
during
your games.
Yeah, it's football season.
Oh, yes.
I'm checking my lineup, watching football, whatever.
Or
or
playing
hockey,
games.
or yeah, and that's playing a game. Playing
Yeah.
fantasy football is a game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like a little mini distressor, yeah, or playing my game, playing
Yeah.
whatever game. Might be right now. I'm playing chess.
Yeah.
Like crazy, right? Like every
That's
break,
funny.
I go in there and I play a little game of chess, but it's something that's making me use my brain.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
that's I only play puzzles
Yeah,
on my phone.
I'm not there looking at some broad twerk or. We all know when you get jealous, and I'm like, oh my god, look at that thing!
It's a
beautiful."
car.
Exactly, and they're freaking cars or a motorcycle, right?
Yes. Or
And you're like-
dualies. You love to look at the back of dualies.
Oh man. So, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, the social media is addictive. We see.
Yeah,
it
we
everywhere.
see it everywhere.
A couple of years ago, I saw this one picture. It was like a family dinner, and everybody's sitting there on their phone, right? Mm-hmm. And they're all posting whatever the Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner was and everything. And it was like, oh, cool, man, you had that? It's like, you were sitting right next to me. Like,
Yeah.
can you all put the phone down and just socialize?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. That's where the world's
But that's,
with
I mean, but that's
technology.
where we're at with our kids, right? So what are the rules for dinner time? We're like, no phones at the dinner table.
Oh, no, yeah.
Right, because our 14-year-old will sometimes come with his phone and he's watching something,
Or he's got headphones on.
or he's got his headphones on, and like the other day you're like, hey, headphones off your head, completely off your head, because he just like he put one ear on, one ear off, and you're like, no, take the whole thing off.
It's funny you say that right now because that came up at work. One of my coworkers has two boys. And
Okay.
they're, I think she said he was older now, but one is about the age of our oldest. And she said that, and I was like, that's so funny. I just went through that with my son. So it's a common thing right now.
It's that age, yeah.
But it's like we said, we remember when we make those funny jokes where you have the picture of the phone and you have a calculator and a Walkman, and a camera and a recorder and all that. Those
Yes.
were all the devices that are all now combined into one thing.
Into the phone, yes.
So I can see why it's addictive. You want to take pictures. But I think the most of the time when people are taking the pictures is automatically because I want to post it on my social media.
Yeah.
So you miss out on a lot of other things going on around you.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, I am glad that.
I mean, I'm guilty of food pictures for sure. Only when it looks really delicious, though.
Okay, well, that's fine. I think everybody has done it. I think I've done it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just where it gets, and it becomes a habit, and it becomes forming.
Yeah.
A habit. So and I recognize it. You recognize it, and we've tried to break it, right?
Yeah, we're trying to not have our phones with us at all times to where we're constantly looking at it, especially when we're at home.
Yeah, because we're the example for the kids. The
Yeah,
kids are going
exactly.
off us,
We're their
right?
example. So if we're always on it, then yeah, and that's all they know, right? So as soon as I pull up Snapchat, the girls are
Filter time.
I want to take a picture. I'm like,
But usually as you guys killing time while you're waiting for
that's
somebody to get
true.
out of school or
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu or whatever, right?
yeah. But I mean, sometimes I'm not even doing it for that because I am also currently taking videos and pictures of the dog we've been fostering, right? And so he's about to leave soon. So I don't know if we've mentioned this, that we were fostering a puppy.
We mentioned it last.
I think
few
we've been
episodes,
fostering a puppy for the last month, and he's now 3.5 months old, and he'll finally be leaving us this week, most likely. And you think I'm going to be breaking down crying.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. I mean, he's been part of a family now for 2 months.
A month. It's a month and a half. Yeah.
So I mean, you might be happy for a while, but I think everybody's gonna miss him.
Well, I think the one who's going to have the hardest time is going to be
Our
our
dog,
Bruce,
yeah,
our dog Bruce. He's going to have
yeah, they become
he's going to be
buddies.
super because he's a year old, right? Our King Corso's a year old, and
Kind of course was a
our
buddy,
yeah,
yeah.
he's
So yeah,
this.
they get along. They got a
They're
little
always
pack.
together.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have that pack love.
yeah. So he's
So
going to have the
I mean,
hardest time.
I'm happy that the puppies go into their forever home. I know that we've also contemplated making this their forever home for the longest time.
Yes, it's been a back and forth. I'm not going to miss waking up at 4 and 5 in the morning to let him to the
Yeah,
potty and
definitely
feed him
huskies.
breakfast.
Huskies, I've opened my eyes.
A shepherd, he's a German Shepherd Husky, so a Shusky.
Yeah, but
He is different.
I've
He's
had
a
German
handful.
shepherds and they're easy to
Oh
train.
no, Huskies are a handful for sure.
Yeah, so that whole tantrums and the potty training and you getting up and now he knows how to read everyone and he's trying to train you guys.
Well, he's straight up. I am 100% confident that he pees in his kennel on purpose to be let out when he doesn't want to be there, because he knows that we're gonna open it. I mean, it's such a smart breed.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're smart.
German
Double.
Shepherd and Husky, super super smart breed. So
Especially
he'll be
some
going to
Dalmatians.
my brother's, and then for training, and then from there he'll be going to his forever home.
I'm gonna miss him. He's a cutie.
He's a
He's growing
cutie.
on me. He's getting rid of that little baby fuzz and is starting to get his features and good looking dog and a sweetheart. Um, typical puppy stuff. I mean, way better than our puppy did. I think.
Well, but we had him older, right? He was 4 months old when we got him. And this guy was 2 months old when we got him.
So yeah, it's been. I mean, I know it's gonna be hard for him. I mean, just when you take him to the vet, he goes crazy. So
The drive is gonna be.
no, I mean when you take the puppy to the vet to get checked out.
Oh, he doesn't want to
our
leave
dog-
my arms.
our dog
Oh,
goes
our
crazy.
dog goes crazy. Yeah.
Our dog goes crazy. He's howling. He's barking.
Well,
he's moving,
and our
he's
Great
searching.
Dane is gonna be going crazy too. Like she might not show that much love for him, but
Well, yeah, she's gonna go crazy because it's like, damn, now I have to put up with this young pup again because
The
the other
1-year-old
one's gone,
again.
so I don't get to rest anymore. The other one the two of them kept each other.
they kept each
entertained.
other company. But I mean, honestly, we have so many moving parts in this house. I feel the reason that we aren't keeping him, and I do want him to find his forever home, is because I can't give more of myself.
No, and I can't either.
And you're not here.
Yeah, I can't help out.
And the kids don't help,
Yeah, the agenda,
on a regular.
it's not-
They help, but not as much as I need them to. Just because there's too many things going on. So I do, a part of me does feel bad. He is adorable. He has grown on me, but in the end, he deserves to be with a household that will be able to give him all
Be
the
strong.
attention and love.
Let's be strong.
I will be
Hang in there.
strong. I'll be fine.
No, we'll get through this.
I'll get through this. Yes, it'll be fine. But I don't know how people foster animals.
No, it's hard.
This is why they always end up keeping them, right?
Yeah, it's hard. I
So
love animals, like I said before. I wish I could keep them all, but
I know. We honestly, it's not fair to him, and it's not fair to us. It's not fair to the kids. I mean, our poor Great Dane, she's so left out these days.
yeah. So puppy's going away. Been an awesome experience to foster a puppy, and a little heartbreaking, and a little stressful.
A lot stressful.
And yeah,
You're not
You
here.
were a trooper. You did a good job. It was supposed to be for a few days, and it turned into way more than that. And well, so we covered pretty much Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
being nerds.
Oh, one more nerd thing. Your collectibles, Wolverine.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got a Wolverine statue from Sideshow Collectibles.
Yeah, I love
And-
that thing. So pretty. So yeah, I've always been a big Wolverine fan, right? It was introduced to me by a nephew when I was a teenager. So yeah, I have a thing for Wolverine, and honestly, it was cool. So I got it because I had a coupon and it was going to expire in the second kid stuff. So I was like, hey, you know what? I don't have a statue, so I got that thing. Awesome. It came in the mail. I forgot that I had ordered it. Honestly,
Because it took
completely.
a while.
Yeah, so it was like during the pre-order time.
Yeah.
I forgot all about it, and it came in, and I was like, "Oh crap, awesome!" I opened it. It was pretty. I took a picture of it and posted it on social media. And I had an email today, and I opened it, and it was like, oh, here's a little extra stuff and what we have going on. So I go to the page and whatever, and I was like, oh, let me see if it still sells my Wolverine statue, and lo and behold, my picture is there.
Yeah, the image you took, and they asked you for permission to use
Yeah.
the picture,
Yeah,
which I think was cool.
I figured they were just gonna like repost it on Instagram because that's where I shared it. Right?
Yeah, no, they actually used it on their website.
Yeah, they actually used it on their website. Yeah, it was like collectors. What was it? Collectors picture or collectors
Edition.
Yeah, something like that. And it was my picture. I recognized it right away because the painting on my statue is a little bit different than what they were promoting. Mm-hmm. Just the face, the way it's painted. So they're all hand painted. So that's why they're limited.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought it was the coolest guy.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome too.
Like, oh yeah, my picture's on the social, not on the social.
No,
media,
on their website.
Yeah, on their website.
Yep.
So maybe one day, I don't know, they'll add me to the collectors section.
Yeah, maybe you just need to start taking pictures of all the things you order from them.
It's not that many.
I have the Court of the Dead.
Yeah.
You can take pictures of them.
Not a sponsor. Okay?
Not a sponsor. I know we're not a sponsor. Not yeah. But, it's just we do purchase.
We do enjoy it.
We do purchase things.
We do enjoy
them.
it.
So.
But yeah. So yeah, thanks for reminding me about that. That was pretty cool. Our little boy is gonna be a Dungeons and Dragons master. Maybe he'll teach me how to play. And then we have our oldest with the whole social media thing. So yeah, let us know what you guys think about that one. Are we wrong? Are we over sheltering? How do you guys handle it? How did you guys go about it?
And do you regret, like, if you did let your kids get on social media, do you regret it now?
Yeah, I mean,
or is it like the best thing?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of people to talk about this. Most of the people, from people that we know, we probably the ones with the oldest kids, and then some of
or no
side,
kids.
Yeah, or no kids. And then in your side of the family, we're the ones with the kids, and they're just starting their journey.
They're just starting their journey.
And
yeah.
from my side of the family, well, there's absolutely nobody to talk to. So
yeah.
So we can actually like reach out and ask people, and the people that we know kind of be awkward and walk up to them and say, "Hey, does your kid have social media? Like, oh, how old is too old?"
Well, I'm aware that a handful of most of the moms I know, their kids are not have Instagram. They have Snapchat. Mm-hmm. They have Facebook.
See, and
but not Instagram.
Snapchat, isn't that like the one where your conversations just disappear?
Yes, Snapchat. They can, after 24 hours.
That could be more scary, though.
Yeah, because you can't monitor those conversations later. Yeah. I don't know.
Everything. But definitely, don't let them have TikTok.
Don't let them have TikTok.
No, don't let them have TikTok.
And we've heard that's allegedly that the TikTok that we use here in the States compared to the one in China, right? Because that's where it comes from, right? TikTok is Chinese.
Yeah, I think the rumor is that the one here is trafficked. It has no limits. You can do whatever. There's no age restriction. And the one in China, depending per your age, you only get so many hours per week. So I think it's like 3 hours per week.
I had read that it's like 1 hour a day, Friday, weekends, and holidays. Other than that, they're not allowed to be on it. And it's called something else, called like Douyin or something like that.
And then the only thing that they pop up on their feed is educational.
Mm-hmm. They're only allowed to watch educational things. That's what I've heard. That's what I've read.
It makes sense. I mean,
I wish.
You want to.
I wish I could monitor that.
But how can you make yourself more successful and make other people less of an.
That's true.
Competition,
Yeah, you get rid of your competition by dumbing them down.
Yeah, let's dumb down the American kids and let's make our Chinese kids freaking smart.
Which is, the whole push. That's like that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Is it true? I don't know. I guess
our son says that there's a young man who's Asian in his class, and he plays the piano beautifully. At the age of 14, 15 years old, he plays beautifully. But, and our son is trying to teach himself the piano, right? So he mentions to him, he's like, hey, man, do you know how to do chopsticks or, different things like that? So our son is like trying to play this music, and that kid no, I don't know how to play that. And our son's like, but you play the piano. And he's like, yeah, I'm only allowed to play certain pieces of music. And classical. He's like, I'm not allowed to play any of those other things. And that just reminded me of School of Rock. So I remember the boy with the guitar in School of Rock. His parents don't want him listening to rock or playing rock on his guitar. He's only supposed to be playing like classical music on his guitar. Do you remember?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember? Anyways, when our son told me that about this classmate that plays the piano, it reminded me of that, how that control over what your kids are doing, right? And we as parents do it for, like, we think that we're trying to help them succeed.
Apparently I need to watch School of Rock again.
I guess that's enough. I think we hear our 4-year-old calling us.
Yeah.
She has not gone to sleep.
So until the 3 fall asleep.
Yeah, because one has not.
It happens a lot. Believe me, she waits until we go to sleep.
She does.
All right. Well,
maybe she needs to stop taking naps.
Thank you all for joining us once again.
Have a great night. Take care. Have a great week.